The night Megan Duskey came home from her night shift, she noticed three things. The door was unlocked, the kitchen light was on, and someone had eaten her food. She assumed it was her roommate, Tyler. She'd text him in the morning. She went to bed. But Tyler hadn't been home in 4 days. He was visiting family in Ohio. So who ate the food? Who left that light on? And why, when Megan checked her closet the next morning, were her clothes pushed to one side? Megan was 23. She'd moved to Spokane, Washington in the spring of 2017 to start a nursing job. She found a 2-bedroom apartment on Maple Street, split the rent with Tyler, a coworker she trusted, and by most accounts, her life was finally coming together. The apartment was modest. 3rd floor, 1 entrance. The building had a key fob entry system on the front door. You needed a code to get into the parking garage, and a key for the unit itself. It wasn't a place someone could just wander into. That detail matters. The first sign something was wrong wasn't dramatic. It never is. It was small. Megan's shampoo kept moving. She'd leave it on the left side of the shower caddy. She'd come back, and it was on the right. She switched it back. Next shower, right side again. She mentioned it to Tyler. He laughed, said he'd never touched her shampoo, said maybe she was just tired. Night shifts will mess with your head. She believed him. She should have listened to her gut. 3 weeks into these small disturbances, Megan started keeping a log. Not because she thought anything was seriously wrong, more to prove to herself she wasn't losing her mind. October 3rd, shampoo moved again. October 5th, a dish in the drying rack that she didn't use. October 9th, her bedroom window was unlatched. She was certain she'd locked it. October 11th, her phone charger was on the wrong side of the bed. Every time she raised it with Tyler, he had no explanation. He wasn't in her room. He wasn't using her shower. He had his own. On October 14th, Megan came home to find the couch cushions slightly rearranged, like someone had been sitting there and tried to put them back. Almost right, but not quite. She called her sister that night, said she felt like something was off in the apartment. She couldn't explain it, just a feeling, like the air was different when she came home, like the space had been used. Her sister said to trust that feeling. What Megan didn't know yet, what no one knew, was that her apartment had a second entrance, a maintenance access panel in the utility closet that connected to the building's service corridor. It was supposed to be sealed, bolted shut from the outside. It wasn't. On October 19th, Megan installed a cheap motion-activated camera, one of those small clip-on ones. She put it on her bookshelf in the living room, angled toward the front door. For 6 days, nothing. On October 25th, at 4:47 in the morning, Megan's camera recorded movement. A figure walked through the living room. Slow, deliberate, not panicked. He moved like someone who'd done it before. He went to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, stood there for almost a minute, then closed it. Walked back through the living room. Stopped near the hallway that led to the bedrooms. Stood still for 11 seconds. Then walked back toward the utility closet and disappeared. Megan was asleep 15 feet away. She didn't see the footage until the next morning. She later told investigators that she watched it 4 times before she could accept what she was seeing. A man, in her home, at 4 a.m., 12 feet from where she slept. She called 911 immediately. When officers arrived, they searched the apartment. No one was there. But when they opened the utility closet, they found something that stopped them cold. Behind a shelf unit, pushed against the wall, a sleeping bag, a pillow, an empty water bottle.
3 of them, a phone charger, and a small stack of food wrappers, the same brand of granola bar Megan kept in her pantry. Someone hadn't just been breaking in. Someone had been living there. The man was identified within 48 hours. His name was Daniel Rowe, 31 years old. He had a prior trespassing charge from 2014 and a restraining order filed against him by a woman in Portland in 2016. He had no connection to Megan, no mutual friends, no online interaction they could find. He had chosen her at random. Investigators believe he had been living inside the walls of that utility corridor and inside her closet space for somewhere between 3 and 5 weeks. He knew her schedule. He knew when Tyler was gone. He knew when she slept. He had a key. Not a copy, not a stolen one. A key that had never been reported missing, because it was a spare that had been left in a lockbox inside the maintenance corridor years earlier by a previous property manager. The building had changed ownership twice. Nobody had audited the access points. Nobody had checked. Daniel Rowe had found that key inside the corridor, and he had used it over and over again for weeks. The scariest part? He wasn't hiding anymore. When police found him, 2 blocks from the apartment, he wasn't running. He was sitting on a bench, eating a granola bar. The same brand. At trial, investigators revealed the full scope of what had been happening inside that apartment. He had gone through Megan's phone when it was charging in the living room. He had read her texts. He knew her sister's name. He knew where she worked. He had taken photographs on his own phone of Megan while she slept. 31 photographs were recovered from his device. Some from her doorway, some from inside her room. That last detail broke the courtroom, because it meant he hadn't just been moving through her apartment. He had been standing over her while she slept. Multiple times. And she never knew. Megan testified that the hardest thing to process wasn't the fear. It was the realization that her instincts were right. From the very first week. The shampoo, the dish, the window. Her gut had been screaming at her for a month. She said, and I want you to hear this clearly, she said, I kept talking myself out of it. I kept thinking I was overreacting. I kept thinking it was nothing. It was never nothing. Daniel Rowe was convicted in 2018 on charges of criminal trespassing, stalking, and unlawful imprisonment. He was sentenced to 9 years. Megan moved out of the apartment the same day she saw that footage. She never went back. The building was cited by the city for multiple safety violations. The utility corridor was sealed. The access points were audited. A little too late. There were a few things I want you to take from this. First, if something feels off in your space, it is worth investigating. Every single time. Trust your instincts before you trust your logic. Second, building access points, old keys, maintenance corridors, unlocked panels. These are rarely checked. They are more common than you think. And third, the detail that stays with me most is that Megan said for weeks she had this feeling, every time she came home, that the air in the apartment felt different, that the space had been used. She was right. Someone was using it. The question is, when was the last time something in your home felt slightly off? A door you didn't remember leaving open? An object in the wrong place? A feeling you couldn't explain? When was the last time you talked yourself out of it? If this story stayed with you, you already know what to do. More cases like this one are coming. Don't miss the next one.